Dr. Blanton, I got to be honest with you. I am concerned about what's happening with the nation's brains. It feels as though, and this really it felt like an overwhelming feeling the last time you were here. It feels as though we have sacrificed or given up our commitment to learning things because learning things it seems hard and just watching things or viewing things seems easy. And I saw the other day and I thought about you this post or meme that basically said reading is the new woke, reading is the new elitism, and those of us who read things think we're so better than everybody else. And Dr. Blanton, it broke my heart. And so I was so grateful for you when I said, could you please come back, because we need help. We need more than just a one shot of Dr. Jackie Blanton. Help us understand what you are seeing when it comes to our nation's struggle with the idea that learning as a function of reading is still a societal good.
Yeah, I think we live in a country, a nation that's everything is fast food, everything is quick, and no one wants to take the time to build specific skills. It
Right.
takes time to build readers, and so it's funny that you should say that because I was just reading something for my staff and preparing some things for them about the science of reading. And the science of reading, with the science of reading, the star of the show is the brain. And
Mm.
so it takes time. And I just want to explain a little bit about the science part because
Yes.
that might answer some of those questions. We are not comfortable with the science of reading as a nation. And the science of reading is just a body of knowledge from cognitive psychologists, neuropsychologists, neuroscience, developmental science, education science, all coming together. A body of knowledge that tells us two things. One, it tells us the skills needed for reading, proficient reading, and two, it tells us the type of instruction. And
Mm.
so and so we're uncomfortable with that because it's been around for 50 years. So why
Yeah.
haven't we implemented these pillars that our
Mm.
kids need? Because of the wars, the reading wars. And so
The reading wars.
these
What do
reading
you mean
wars
by the
have been
reading wars?
yeah, the reading wars have been around for centuries, and we know that war is big business. And so there's been two sides of the coin for reading. One says whole language, the other one says phonics. One
Mm.
says that, there's a camp out there that says we learn to read by looking at the shape of the word and by the content of the pictures. And the other one says no, that's not so. We've got to look at the brain and how the brain is operating. So we've delved into whole language for 40, 50 years, and we knew it was not right
Wow.
because outside agencies came into education and said, this shiny new object over here is beautiful. Let's try it. Educators knew after some time, we knew that it wasn't working. And so when we delved into it, we kept delving into it, and we knew it wasn't right. We knew our
Right.
kids weren't reading, but again, we continued. Um, and now we have this situation where reading is back on the plate. Reading is back on the plate after so many years of we putting it to the side, because
Mm.
there's a new thing now. The new thing about kids not reading whole books
Right.
by the time they get to
Right.
college. And it's just a whole lot of fluff. But the bottom line is we've got to get comfortable with the science and what the science is telling us. It's not about whole language. It's about putting our kids in a position where they are stronger, that we are putting them on a path to reading proficiency, because democracy
Mm.
definitely needs it. Our community needs
Yeah.
it. We need competent, strong readers. We're not getting it. We're not producing it. Teachers don't know how. They
My
think that it's a
goodness.
curriculum,
Mm.
and it's not.
So that raises two questions for me. One, when we say teachers don't know how, is this because teachers are not being prepared with this information as a part of their teacher certification programs? That's the first question. But my second question is, once those educators began realizing, okay, wait a minute, hold on now, we done took a turn down wrong people lane, and this is not where we need to be. What sort of effort was there to either inform parents as to what was happening? Because personally, I've always presumed that there are like three basic stakeholders in any educational environment. There's the educators themselves, the students themselves, and the parents or the families. And it feels like if educators were seeing, wait a minute, this is not working, at some point, I feel like back in the day before we had integrated education, it would have been like teachers who lived next to parents would have been like, now, baby, I seen your baby in school and he can't do this, that, or the other. Or sister, I see your baby in school and she can't do this. And it feels like there would have been more of a direct connection between the educators and the parents because we were all a part of the same community. We don't really have that anymore. So what should have happened to put out the alert to the parents so that we could have begun advocating for a return to what we understood to be best practices in teaching how to become a reader?
So to answer your first question, no, teachers are not aware of the
God.
science of reading. So we need to take a look at the courses that are being offered in teacher prep programs. That's the
Mm,
first thing. They can't teach what they don't know.
right.
And many of them still think it's a fad. It's a science of reading is a curriculum. It is not. The second question is deeper. And just like war is I equate it to reading.
Mm.
There is money, big money in failure. And so
Oh.
if you keep if we keep the reading wars going, there is someone
Wow.
profiting. And
Oh,
so
you just made it so
education is
plain.
big money.
Mm,
Education, we have it's a big money business and it's political. And so
mm.
while teachers may understand what it takes to build a reader, and we knew that the whole language was not working, there is little that they can do. If you've got your big corporation saying this is what we need and they're going to fill your political coffers, then again, you're not going to make a difference. You're going
Wow.
to go with that. And so war, when if you stop the reading wars, who's going to benefit
Mm.
and who's going
The
to
community would benefit. The
the
readers would
community.
benefit. The
But
people would benefit.
as I say in my book,
Mm.
is it the goal of America, the United States of
Come
America,
on,
to
Dr.
have everyone literate in the United States?
Mm.
Is
Well,
that
we know the answer to that question is absolutely not. It is not the goal of this nation to have everyone literate because with literacy comes a level of power and it's very hard to control people who know things, right? So Dr. Jackie Blanton, it feels to me as though we the people who recognize the importance of having an educated population, it's on us, right? And frankly, so many things are on us now. We're in a moment where it feels as though like, and I've told my audience this before, everything that we currently get from people who are not from us, we need to figure out how to get it to us for ourselves because don't nobody else care, and there's not going to be any more civil rights regime that's going to force them to care in any meaningful way. So if we know that they are incentivized to keep us ignorant, if we know that it is profitable for them to keep us mentally enchained, similar to the way that many of their ancestors profited from keeping our bodies physically enchained, what does the village have to do? We're speaking in terms of village now. I feel because we just had a caller, Dr. Blanton, who was like, "I'm gonna be all right. I'm not just gonna survive during trial. I'm gonna thrive." And my question to him was, "How are you gonna help the community do so at the same?" And he had no answer. I have absolutely no interest in people who are so self-centered that they would intellectually masturbate their own importance above that of the people. So for those of us who are interested in the village, because this is a show for the village, what do we need to do? Because I don't see these incentives changing anytime soon, particularly looking at who's going to be heading up the Department of Education, such as it is, the policies that are coming down. It feels to me, even though we've got technically integrated education, we need an approach to education that recognizes that we are in a Jim Crow reality. What does that look like?
right? We have to go back to grassroots. Our ancestors had a blueprint. right?
Mm.
We weren't alive back then, but they left a legacy, they left a blueprint for us to follow. And that goes back to grassroots programs. We have to get the word out. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I need to do. I don't have small children, but it doesn't matter. We as a community, as a collective, we've got to reimagine reading. I hear people say we want to go back to prior to COVID. Our kids couldn't read prior to COVID either. So why do we want
Right.
to go back? We've
Right.
got to reimagine it. And so it takes programs like this, different platforms to get the word out verbally, because we already know 52% of Americans, they only can read at a fifth grade level. And those that can read at a fifth grade level, half of them are illiterate. So
Mhm.
we've got to get the word out in multiple ways. We've got to help people understand, especially people of color. They don't have to be afraid of the science of reading. They don't have to be afraid of learning about the brain. All it is saying is that if we stick with the science, our kids will be able to read better. Yes, there are some kids who will read by any program,
Mm.
but more students will read and benefit from the science of reading. Those are the kids that we owe this to. Those are the kids that we have to make sure that they are full and they're fulfilling their potential. That's what we have to do. We have to get back to the grassroots and explain in detail, layman's term, what is the science of reading and what does it look like in different grade levels from 0 to 5, from 5 to 8, and then the
Mm.
community. What does it look like for each one of us in our own space, in our own place? What does it look like? What can we do? And that's big. And that's why I'm here. There are so many things that we can do. There's nobody coming to rescue us.
That's right.
There is power, there is money in failure. And not
Mm.
everyone is going to be educated, because the United States don't want everybody to be educated.
Right.
And so it takes us to go to wherever we need to go, whether it's infant and toddler programs, whether it's preschool programs, whether it's elementary school programs or community programs. We've got to get the word out. You make a difference, we make a difference. That's how we're going to turn it around, as our ancestors did. We have to take the bull by the horn. We have to make sure that this information lives in our community.
That's why I'm so glad you're here.